are you? I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. Let me know what your plans are today, maybe what your plans are for the week. And if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can definitely check out that information box down below. Check out my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. You could check out our witchy shop, Desert Cauldron, James's Crystal Shop, Light of Riga, and get to know a little bit more about us. All right, so today we have some cool things cooked up for you guys. We had a poll put out on Thursday for my Patreon homies, for my YouTube members, and for the public and you, my subscribers. So that poll was asking what you guys wanted to see during today's live chat, and you guys wanted to do an arrowhead reading, and I'll show you how I read with arrowheads. So we'll do that. We'll also dive into our weekly reading, and we will do our super chats and super stickers towards the end of the chat today. So anybody who would like cards pulled or maybe arrowheads pulled for them, we could do that at the end of the chat. And then afterwards, we have our channeled guided meditation. All right. So hello, hello, hello. Like I said, how are you guys? And let's see who is in here. We have Susie. What's up? Liesel, Lilith. Hey, hey. And Russ is here. Oh my goodness. Um, so many awesome people. Angel is here. Angel says, good morning. Butterfly Love Child, what is up? Yay! And then Lilith said, reading with arrowheads, very interesting. Our buddy Edgar is here saying good morning. Everybody giving each other the good mornings and the hellos. So, all right, how are you guys this lovely morning? It's a little chill this morning, but you know, the sun is shining, at least for the time being. I mean, look at the sky. Yep, they're trailing it up. They wanted it to have. They want it to be cloudy later today, so there you go. All right. So anyway, yeah, what do you guys have going on today? I will mention that later, well, early this coming week, so in a few days, James and I are going to be leaving for Tucson. So we're going down to the Tucson Gem Show here in Arizona, and we'll only be there for like a day and a half or so. So we only have like one night at the hotel, but we're going to be around. We're going to be checking out the crystals, checking out some goodies for our Desert Cauldron shop. And then I want to go check out a katana shop that's down there, or katana, because I have a like katana training sword now, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I need a real one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. We'll see. You know, we'll have a little look ski. Anyway, let's see. Let's go back here. Edgar says, good morning, everyone. How are y'all lovelies doing? Lisa saying she's doing splendid this morning. Lola says she's feeling a little nervous. Why is that? What's going on? Inked Witchy is saying, good morning. Can't wait to see how you read with arrowheads. All right. Can't wait to dive into that with you guys. I love it. um, Lisa saying it's the same with the skies over there. Interesting. You know what I was noticing in the like weather forecast, which really is just like I would say it's like their wish list. Like, this is what we wish for the weather, you know, and then they try their best. They don't always get what they want. But what they're wanting is for Imbolc, the first week of February, to be snowy and cold when our temperatures are trying to go into the 60s. Like every time they like, you know, bring the temperatures down, the temperatures just like shoot right back up. Like, we want to be in the 50s and 60s. We want it to be sunny. And then they're like, no. So I think Gaia's fighting back. So I'm like, yeah, one for Gaia. um, let's see. Lilith says, you know me, all of you do. Edgar says, I'm actually started collecting things for charm casting. Hey, well, you know, I'm always collecting bits and bobs, you know, for my little charm bag as well. So mine's mostly toys. that I find, like little figurines, but there's stones and just whatever fits my fancy, and we could throw it in there. Liza says, I've said before I wanted to start a Sims only channel. That's right, which would be, I think, pretty cool. I would definitely go pop in and go check that out. All righty, you guys. So let me have a little sip of water here. Stay hydrated, you guys. Um, let's dive into our weekly reading. And then I want to, what? I'm gonna point the camera down because we're going to do our weekly reading with the arrowheads, and then I want to talk about them afterwards and just how I was reading with them, and maybe how you can find other things that interest you. Maybe not necessarily arrowheads, but maybe you like reading with crystals or rocks or seashells, which I also do. Charm casting, maybe reading the skies. So hopefully that will help you guys out. Thanks, Susie. Lilith said, Lilith Valor is the only female vampire in Sims 4. Really? Hmm. They need to make some more female vampires, I think. Okay, so before we get going here, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you to everybody who pops into these live chats with us, and everybody who's commented, everybody who watches our videos, which, by the way, we have a channeling video coming out tomorrow, as we do every Monday morning. And this one I think you guys will find rather interesting. We're going to be diving into alcohol. No, we're not going to be drinking alcohol during our channeling, but we are going to channel alcohol, or we did actually. And I think, yeah, you guys will. We didn't know who we would connect with or what we would connect with, but I think you might find the perspective of the energy that we channeled to be rather interesting. So the view of alcohol, whether you guys are teetotal or not, or you drink once in a while, or you like to drink a lot, who knows? So definitely check out that channeling at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific and 6 a.m. Pacific and 9 a.m. I believe Eastern. So, all right. Let's see. Oh, we have some more homies popping on in. Dana, what's up, girl? How are you? Lilith said, I'm using Sacred Mothers and Goddesses Oracle today. Excellent. Edgar says, I was about to bust out the shot glasses. Nice, Edgar. Um, Susie is sending Mateo hugs for Dana's son. All righty. So yes, thank you, all my awesome subscribers. We're slowly but surely creeping our way to 10,000 subscribers, which is just, to me, amazing. But I also want to thank my YouTube members. You know who my YouTube members are because they have a little colored kitty head right next to their name. So Liesel and Kayla and Jamie and Caitlin, thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see, let's also give a shout out to our patrons. So my patrons, we actually have some tiers over on Patreon, depending on kind of what you're most interested in, whether you're interested in crystals or the live chat, or you just love to get the, weekly blog posts and, talking about whatever's comes up, and the monthly meditations. Some people want the, yearly healings. Some people get monthly readings, just kind of depending on what you like. But I want to shout out my patrons. So Myrna and Karen and Liesel and Heather and Lily and Dana and Jamie, Kayla, Syrian, Brandy, Samara, Jason, and Brian. Mwah! Thank you guys all so much. All right. Let's see. Russ says, a friend of mine took his arrowhead collection to a Native American flea market. A woman at a table wouldn't touch his arrowheads as she didn't know if the man who made the arrowhead was evil or not. Interesting. So just kind of checking out the energy, whether she connected with the energy or not. Dana says, I love Tara's Patreon. It's the best. So thank you. And by the way, Patreon has a new I guess, thing that they've added, which is a chat. So instead of waiting for the weekly blog post, just whatever comes up for us, my patrons, myself, we can just like put a little chat. We could just like talk to each other, which is great. Just like Instagram, but it's Insta Patreon. So that's nice. Um, Lilith says, I apologize. I had to end my membership when I deleted Aurora Starseed channel. Hey, no worries, no worries. Dana said, the monthly reading helped to set the tone for the month. I always look forward to them. Yeah, well, you know what? Those monthly readings are coming up again soon because February is just around the corner. In bulk is just around the corner. And my newsletter comes out on the 1st. So if you guys are interested in my little newsletter that I put out, I talk about sometimes DIY, craft projects, but sometimes I talk about some like witchy rituals or spells that you guys could do for the month. I talk about crystals and herbs, tea blends that usually I create myself, YouTube channels that I'm watching, music I'm listening to, books that I'm reading, things like that, oracle decks that I'm using, or tarot. And if you're interested in that, definitely sign up for the newsletter. The link for that is also down below, and you can find that through my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. But coming out on the 1st is the crystal grid of the month for those that are my crystal patron tier over on Patreon. So they get a grid just kind of based on the energy and what I'm feeling from my higher self that they might need for the month. So that's coming out. There's also a monthly guided meditation that would be coming out within that 1st week as well for all of my patrons. Plus their weekly blog post, but also for those that get the monthly readings, that would be coming out the 1st week as well. So lots of good stuff at the beginning of every month. And if you're interested in any of that, like I said, all that information is down below. All righty. Edgar says he's busting out his mystical shaman oracle. Susie's looking forward to the February. Feels hopeful. Yeah, I feel that too. Oh, Russ says in Eastern time, it is 11:11. Hey! All right. Okay, guys. So I am going to turn this thing around, and we're going to use some arrowheads to do our reading today. And then I want to talk a little bit about them afterwards. So I think I'll incorporate Wally's world with that as well. All right. So I'm going to move so I can bring my little table over here for y'all. Okay, and I'm gonna flip the screen around. Here we go. Whoop. Okay. All right, so as you can see, I have the decks that I'm using for this week, but also for those of you that would like the super chats or super stickers towards the end of the chat today, I could use these decks or use my arrowheads here. Really, we're interested in the arrowheads. So I'm going to move these even more off to the side just so we have a little bit more. Let's see if we could zoom in. Can. Excellent. So in this bag are actually my cousin's arrowheads. My cousin's passed on now, but these were hers, and she got them on her various travels that she went with her father. Her father was in the military, so they kind of went all over the world, but there are a few states that she really loved, and she was able to collect some arrowheads, and she placed them in this awesome little leather pouch. And I don't believe she really did much with them other than take them out from time to time and just kind of connect with the energy. And for me, in wanting to connect with my cousin, of course, I wanted to have her arrowheads. But then I decided, to start reading with them. And so every now and then I bust them out for readings. I think I've used them once or twice here on YouTube, but I haven't made it a whole thing. Like I haven't said oh, today we're going to read with arrowheads. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to, let's see, zoom out just a little bit more so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to be over here, by the way. All right. So what I do is I'm just going to pour these out. And put these off to the side. Okay, so you notice there's all different kinds here. All the different ones she found or that was gifted to her whenever she would visit various reservations. Just so you guys can get a feel for them. And of course, we have arrowheads that we found on our property here. But I keep those separate because these ones are my cousins. And, but I do have a little place where I keep the other arrowheads that we find here from all the different tribes that have come through here from, the Navajo. There was some Apache, the Hopi, Anasazi. Okay, so my intention right now is to look at the energy for the upcoming week. And so I just take them in my hands here and we're going to go ahead and mix them up and give them a little toss. So let's see. Okay. So first what I'm doing is just kind of looking at the shape that they've landed in. And I feel this like moving forward energy in the week, but maybe perhaps right around like February 1st, February 2nd, which is what I was talking about in bulk. Instead of this arrowhead pointing out like we're going straight through, it feels like a blockage right there. So some sort of block in the week. So let me start tapping into their energies and just kind of let them speak to me and see what they're trying to say for this week. It feels like some sort of mood shift around the 1st and the 2nd, where it feels like, for the most part, we're moving forward, feeling that return of the sun, no matter what part of the world we are in. And so it feels like the mood is lifting. Much like Susie said, feeling hopeful for this new month, the 2nd month of a new year. And then for one reason or another, when we get to that first few days of the new month, it's like feeling like an unexpected energy. So I'm feeling like with this arrowhead pointing downwards, just like, the messages that we've received before about remaining grounded, that if we are constantly putting ourselves in the present, I know we like to think about what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen, later today. And it's saying, not to think, don't not think about those things, but to always bring yourself back to the present. Because if we are grounded, meaning we know exactly where our energy is at, we know where our mind is at, it's much harder for things that are coming out of left field, whether they be energy or, an event in your life that occurs, to throw you off balance, and create this blockage that I see here. Remember that there's an infinite number of timelines. And so we can always change what we may perceive moving forward. So if we perceive this blockage, but then we decide, you know what, I'm going to take the advice of keeping myself grounded and remaining in the present, I can change this blockage around and create smooth sailing so that I'm not disrupted by, things that throw me off guard, and all of a sudden it's like, all of that practice that we do, all of that meditation, can easily go out the window if we allow our energy to just be all over the place, that we don't have, our mind is constantly scattered. And then it's difficult to bring ourselves back. Not that we can't, but it's just difficult. So the message just for this week is just stay grounded no matter what. So no matter if, they're chemtrailing the skies, or, your job says, hey, everybody's got to take a pay cut, or, you run out of gas on the side of the highway, whatever it is, we can deal with it so much more easily if we're present. If our mind is all over the place, and let's say we're driving along, we run out of gas, and my mind's been elsewhere, I might be a lot more frantic about the situation. My emotions might be all over the place. I might have shadows come up, and that definitely doesn't help me while I'm on the side of the road. You know, I would be able to, let's say if I was grounded, I'd be able to assess the situation for what it is, be a lot more clear-headed about it, and it wouldn't affect me as much. It'd be like, man, that sucks, but it wouldn't ruin my entire week. It wouldn't ruin my entire day. It'd just be maybe something funny I could talk about with people later on. But it definitely changes our perspective on the situation. Sometimes little things become huge issues and huge problems if we are ungrounded. So this doesn't mean that like our shadows wouldn't come up or we wouldn't be triggered. Maybe I would be triggered, if we had to pull over because we ran out of gas. But I would still be much more in the present, and the trigger and the shadow that comes up would be much more easily dealt with later, when we'd say, okay, so this came up for me earlier today. Let's work on it now that I'm home, and let's dive into the shadow instead of having to fully reel within that shadow or that trigger, due to being ungrounded. Okay, see if I'm getting anything else from you guys. This arrowhead here is kind of standing out to me. And this is also, I feel, about speaking your truth this week. Um, Sometimes we feel that we don't want to say certain things, or speak our mind because we're afraid of hurting people's feelings, or what if they disagree with me and it causes an argument. And you have to think, um, why is it that the people that you care about most are allowed to speak their truth? Why would you give them the love and the grace and the space to be able to be who they are, their genuine, authentic selves, speak how they want to speak? Yet when it comes to ourselves, we decide that's not okay. That, oh, when I'm around these people, I'm going to censor myself, which is a form of inauthenticity, or I'm going to hold back. When in reality, perhaps the things you may say might spark an argument. Maybe it might trigger people, but doesn't that get things out in the open? Doesn't that help us to truly understand each other and where we're coming from, instead of having to assume or guess what somebody's thinking or feeling? Because if we stay quiet, these people here might feel, oh, well, they agree with us. This person here agrees with us. Or I have no idea what this person is thinking. So then they ignore you, when we all have something to share. We all have something to give. And sometimes that thing to give is our truth. Maybe it's not their truth, but at least they know where we're coming from. And blocking our own throat chakra, I would say, is never a good thing in trying to keep ourselves in balance. So whatever it may be, I just feel here, and maybe this is for just one or two of you, or maybe it's for all of us, but whatever comes up, say it. If you're thinking it, say it. If it causes an argument, that's okay. At least we're airing things out. We're understanding each other. We're trying to get to a place of neutrality. I want to understand their side as much as they want to understand your side. And then maybe we found out we were not on sides at all. We were all on the same side. We just had different perspectives. And actually, that's what helps us from becoming divided, is to speak up. All right, let's see if I'm getting anything else for this week. Mm, no, it's just grounded, stay present, and speak up. Use that throat chakra, especially with the people we love. I feel like this is the people we love most. Okay, so let me come back around here. Just zoom in there. All right, so let me Russ said beautiful arrowheads. Many are probably spearheads. Yes, I would say so. Edgar says, got the sun, the drum, the rainbow. The sun says that if I've been keeping to myself and introspective, I need to come out into the sun. I have been saying, I feel like my old self coming to life. Nice. Lila said, first card from the sacred mothers and goddesses, Gaia with evolution. And Edgar says, the drum says to follow the flow of the universe and to take the next steps in my life. Universe has my back. Susie said, present will do. She said, I had the nicest lunch yesterday with George's best friend. It felt good being present. That's amazing. So cool. Edgar says, the rainbow, not to give up. Pretty much it's like the Ten of Swords. Things are going to pick up. I've been in a dark place lately. Good to see these cards popping up. Exactly. Edgar was asking Susie what she had to eat, and she said, Sizzler, old school style. Um, Lila said, that's me easily. So far, being open and honest has caused nothing but misery. And Susie's saying, beautiful message. Lila says she's literally crying right now. Oh no. But you know what? We're all here. We're all holding space for everybody. Whatever we're feeling, like we say, don't hold back. Don't hold back that throat chakra. Um, and you know what? Sometimes when we do speak our truth, sometimes when we're just saying what's on our mind, it may, make others uncomfortable. And so maybe they might say things to us that they're really saying to themselves. And sometimes, in the heat of the moment, that might be hard for us to see. If let's say we, point something out for someone, or we say, I'm doing this, but yet they take it personally. For one reason or another, it could be a past trauma or programming that you're challenged by being you or being saying the things that you're saying. And so they might attack you because you're the messenger, right? You've showed them a place where they need to heal. You showed them a piece of programming that they have, and maybe they're not yet ready to face it. And so when people point those things out, even if you weren't trying to, um, sometimes people attack you. They say, hey, what you're saying is wrong, when really it's their ego that's lashing out. Their ego is saying, I don't like what you said because you're challenging me. I'm not ready to be challenged. Or maybe they are, and they're just wrestling with the idea of what you just said. So when these things happen, of course, we're going to feel, we can't really help that. But once we leave the situation, we have to kind of take a moment to reflect on it. Once we've calmed down, um, and we take a look at what were our emotions in the situation. What were the emotions of the other person? In what way do I feel like this was the person's ego attacking me? In what way do I feel like their higher self was speaking to me? And I think you might know the difference. And then take a look at your own emotions. Don't ignore them, obviously. If you're feeling really upset because the other person was upset, then what is that that's coming up for you? It's healing all around, in the end. And we might say, well, growing up, my parents used to fight maybe. And so I become very triggered when people are upset with me. I try not to make people upset. So then we realize, oh, this was a healing situation. Not only did I trigger somebody, but they triggered me, meaning I helped them to heal and I found something in myself to heal. And this way it changes our perspective from one of being hurt because somebody was upset with me to one where we can show gratitude and thanks for that person's outburst because they were showing us an area within ourselves that we needed to heal. just as much as hopefully the other person, upon reflection, when they've cooled off, they can take a look and say, what was it that this person was actually trying to say? And that's up to them, in their healing journey, whether they want to take a look at it or not. But the fact is, the healing is there for them when they're ready to receive it. Okay. Um, let's see, let's go back. Oh, Ojababe is here. Hello. Says, I channeled a cat being with the beige arrow pointing out its throat, so I got to speak up, and cats are usually grounded and present beings. Beautiful. Lisa asking Lilith to hold tight, and she said, that's why I'm wanting an apology, but I won't say from whom. I see. Let's see. She said someone said really heartless things. Oh my goodness. And Susie says the truth can hurt. Yeah. Um, and I think that it's when we're having discussions with people, and if we feel really hurt, or the other person feels really hurt by what we said, it's usually because there's something in there that was true, or it was poking at a truth that needed to be looked at, whether they are conscious of it or not. And so maybe that's why they say sometimes the truth can hurt, when really we don't mean hurt as in we've damaged them, but hurt as in we found a place within the ego that was crying out for help, that was saying, you know what, I still feel sensitive about this programming, or sensitive about this trauma. And something this person said brought up that memory, or brought up that feeling. And that's not a bad thing. And that's something, I'm learning for myself, is that it's okay to speak up. And luckily I have James in my life who has his throat chakra wide open, and he's helping me to open mine back up as well. Because, I tell him that when I was much younger, that throat chakra was way open. But, it'd been silenced for quite some time, but we're opening it back up, well, whether things get triggered or not. And we're healing just as much as we're hoping we help others as well. Okay, let's see. We have Amarul is here. Hello, hello. Welcome. Lola says, what the person said wasn't close to the truth. They know me better than what they said. Interesting. And Karen is here. She said, can anyone help my dog stop barking? His name is Golden Wizard. Well, maybe we can, if anybody would like to tap into his energy and see why he's barking. Is there an energy, an actual thing that he can hear or sense? Maybe we can tap into that. Golden Wizard, he lives up to it. Nice. Okay. So while people maybe are tapping into Karen's dog there, like I said, I wanted to talk about these arrowheads, and kind of how I read with them, or maybe if there are things that you guys are particularly interested in, like some of you guys read with crystals, like I said, maybe you do conchomancy, like you read with seashells. And it's really what you feel connected with, I think, is probably the easiest thing for you to try to read with. And really what we're doing is we're using these things as a permission slip to connect to our own intuition. So whether we're using tarot cards or we're using physical items, it's just a way in which we feel we can access that intuition, even though we can access it without the means of anything physical. Sometimes we want to use that kind of like as a training tool, an aid. So let me come back around here and talk about these arrowheads. Okay, so first of all, if any form of divination that I have, any permission slip that I have to access my intuition, I try to keep them nice and secure. I try not to just treat them, in my point of view, disrespectfully, just kind of leaving them all over the place. So my cards are usually not strewn about. I keep them in their boxes or I keep them in their pouches. But same with the arrowheads. Since these were my cousins and they're very special to me, I keep them in her little leather pouch here. And I have a special area that I keep my runes, I keep my charms, and I keep my, arrowheads and seashells and things like that. So, okay. So when reading with them, sometimes I might just put them all in the bag and I might just, shift my fingers around in the bag and pull one out and then I'll hold it. Like let's say I'll hold this one and I try to feel its energy. So this is what I do in meditation. Of course, I would do that sans any objects. And so what I'm doing is just grounding myself and trying to feel into it, trying to connect to it, which really I'm trying to connect to myself, to my higher self. And so any images that come forward that pop into my mind, maybe I'll feel a particular way, maybe an emotion might come forward. Maybe I hear a song in my head or a clip from a movie might come out. I don't discount anything, especially when I'm getting into a space of just trying to connect. Um, and in the past, I would have written all those things down, but now I just kind of keep it in mind. And, so if I'm holding this and I might say, well, I'll, I don't know, a clip from the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids popped into my head, but maybe all of a sudden I'm hearing a song from Michael Jackson and I'm feeling anxiety or something like that. Then I utilize my ego and my higher self to try to put all those things together. So, and it's mostly my higher self. So it's like, okay, if what do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Michael Jackson, and a feeling of anxiety mean for me? Let's say if I'm trying to access my own energy. Um, and, I put together basically a connection, a storyline. And if my ego's having a hard time, that's when I'm like, okay, higher self, I need a little bit more help on this one. And so I might get um, a little bit more of a clear message of how all of those things relate. So that's how I would utilize one arrowhead. But doing a reading like I just did for you guys, I take all of the arrowheads into my hands. And some people, when they're reading with charms or seashells or whatever it may be, they may have specific meanings that they have personally attached to each item. For me, with the arrowheads, I haven't done that. Instead, I want them all to have their own voice, which basically these are all aspects of myself. These are, all of these spearheads and arrowheads are aspects of me. And if they're aspects of me, I don't want to put them into a category, like say, oh, this, spearhead always means this. I don't want to do that. So I just let them be a little bit more free. I roll them around in my hands and I contemplate my question. Um, and then when I have my question in mind and I feel pretty connected to them, like I can start to feel the energy in my hands. Sometimes it's a buzzing feeling. Sometimes it's just a knowing in my mind that, okay, I've basically shuffled them enough. And then I spread them out. Okay. And then the first thing I do is take a look at the shape of the spread. And what does the shape evoke to me? Like what comes to mind when I see that shape? Maybe it's the shape of a cat. Maybe it's the shape of a spear. Maybe, you know, what um, what does it mean, to me, those symbols? And the symbols are for me because it's my own intuition speaking to me. So it wouldn't be symbols I wouldn't understand, so I definitely have an understanding of cats. So I might say, oh, well, when I think of cats, this means this to me. So, it's your own language, basically, your own symbolic language. And then after that, let's say after I take a look at the shape, then I start looking at which ones are closer to me, which ones are a little bit further than me, and which ones are the furthest away from me. And in my own personal readings, I feel like the ones closest to me have the most important and immediate messages, even though they're all connected. The ones in the middle are maybe less important for right now, but still important. And the ones that are further away might mean something that is happening in the future or has the least amount of connection to what's happening closest to me. I also look at the direction, which is why I like arrowheads and spearheads, is kind of looking at what direction they're facing. Um, and if these are all pieces of me, like let's say these runs are kind of all facing outwards with a couple that overlap here, I might say that this might be looking towards something. I'm looking towards something, or perhaps people in my life are looking towards something. If there are some that are on top of each other, it might mean, crisscross of um, like energy, like a blockage of some sort. If it's pointing back at me, like let's say it was doing this, it might mean like, hey, you, hey, you person who's reading this, like, um, you really need to pay attention, or maybe that this is a time to ground, looking downwards for grounding. So I'm just utilizing my own intuition for it. And I encourage people to do kind of things like this, especially if you have a hard time getting into a meditative state or getting into your intuition. You can use this permission slip to really um, just focus on the now. I'm just focusing on this. I'm not focusing on my to-do list or anything else, because my ego is like really interested. Like, what is this? So my ego is not like flying off the handle somewhere else. My ego is present. My higher self is present, and that's kind of a form of meditation. When I'm really trying to feel into these, like what sensations am I feeling? What's coming up in my brain? That's also a form of meditation, except my eyes are open. It's kind of the same thing. When we talk about meditation for people, we're not saying to have your mind blank, that it's a blank space and we're just like, oh, although some people like to do the ohms, that's great. But really what it is just to get them into a place where they're focused on one thing for right now. For me, I'm just focused on this question, and I'm focused on the feelings. I'm focused on the images that come up in my head. And the same thing is for meditation. When my eyes are closed, my intention, is whatever it may be. Maybe my intention is to get a message. Maybe my intention is just to still my mind. And so whatever's coming up in that intention with my eyes closed, I might feel something. I might hear music, in the 4D way. I might have images pop up in my head, and that's my intuition speaking to me. And so that's what we mean, by meditation. So technically, the mind isn't a blank slate. It's not black or blank. Um, but you're constantly allowing messages to come through, which would be harder to come through if our mind was all over the place and we're focused on this over here and this over here. So for me, that's what these arrowheads do. That's what these tarot cards do. It's being in a state of waking meditation where I can just focus on the messages. So yeah, and then when reading these arrowheads, I might also take into account the color of the arrowheads. Maybe I notice that the lighter arrowheads are on one side and the darker arrowheads on the other. So maybe that could represent some sort of yin yang energy. It could represent, shadow and light. But really, whatever it means to you personally. And that's what I like, is because there's no book meanings here. There's nothing for me to memorize. It's solely my intuition, and my intuition is never wrong. My ego can be wrong all the time, but our intuition is not. And that's where I think we start learning to trust our intuition, because it's kind of backwards, right? We trust our ego, but then we don't trust our intuition, when it's our intuition that is basically infallible, and it's our ego that is fallible. But in putting our trust into that intuition by going into meditation, by, you know, using our cards or reading with arrowheads or seashells or charms or whatever it may be, we're putting our faith back into our soul, our essence, who and what we truly are. And then we kind of tell the ego to take a nap, ski, while I connect to that intuition. And then we just kind of get used to it. And then it just becomes a part of us, which, it's always been a part of us. Just, I would say it's bringing ourselves back into balance. So yeah, that's how I read with seashells, or I mean seashells, arrowheads. Okay, let me go back here to um, Pad. Susie was saying that Golden Wizard is such a neat name. Comfy Cozy Lunar, hello. She says, excited to see how you do these Arrowhead readings. Excellent. Amanisha, oh, she says today is a big day for her. Well, excellent. Um, Amanisha was saying that I had taught her conchomancy. And Liesel saying, Susie, Freya had me busy today. All good stuff. Thanks again for the channeling, babes. Excellent. Peg is here. She has made it. Gemini Grey Wolf. Whoa. Yeah, definitely. It's been a long time no see. So glad that you were able to hang out with us. Susie saying, Liesel, thank you for all the channelings you've done for me. Angela Prayer Poems is here. Hey, Angela. Says blessings and hugs, everyone. Bless you all today. Wishing you love, light, and cupcakes. Lots of positivity in your day. Amen. Amen, sister. Lisa's saying, Susie, it's always a pleasure. Manisha saying, good movie. um, Peg was wondering if Karen's dog, Golden Wizard, had stopped barking yet. Angela said, blessings, Susie. Hugs for you. Now are things. How do you do? I hope you're doing okay. I manifest hugs and cupcakes for you today. Very nice. Oh, yes. Angela Aurora has her screen name changed. She's Lilith Valor. Sorry, V. Karen had a question. How do we differentiate between ego-based thought versus higher self, spirit, free flow thought? That's actually a pretty good question. When, let's say, a thought comes in, and let's say the thought is, I don't know, let me think of an ego thought, like, oh, I'm the shit, like, oh man, I'm just like the best. I'm the best that ever was. At first I might think, well, that's confidence. I have some confidence in myself, which, yes, it is a form of confidence, but then we have to look at that logically. Remember that the higher self is unbiased. The higher self is always looking for healing. The higher self always has our best interests at heart. The ego likes to hide things. And so if the thought that comes in is like, oh man, I'm the best, like I'm, the best that ever lived. If that were my higher self, how would the higher self be trying to help me with that thought? Is the higher self it trying to help me heal in any sort of way? Maybe it is the higher self trying to, boost my confidence, but is it really? Or is it the ego trying to cover up something? Is the ego trying to pretend like there's nothing else for it to learn by saying it's the best? Because the higher self might say you are love, but it would never say I'm at the top of my game at anything. It would just say you're doing great and there's more to learn, and I'm excited because the higher self's always in a constant wanting to learn state. It's in a constant evolving state, whereas the ego likes to be stagnant. And so I would say that would be one way to kind of differentiate between the thoughts that come in, is how do the thoughts make you feel? If they ever make you feel worried or anxious, then perhaps there is ego wrapped up in it. If they make us upset, perhaps there's ego wrapped up in it. Sometimes our higher self thoughts that come in, they might trigger our own ego, but the thoughts are for healing. It might be pointing out something in our life where we need to work on something. And there's always, at least for me, and I just speak for me, I would like you guys to chime in as well. I always feel that there's an air of love to it. My higher self has never called me names. My higher self has never told me I was like a piece of crap or something. My higher self has never like criticized me, really. My higher self's like, hey, here's an area where we need help. Hey, what this person just said, although triggering, is true. There's some truth in there, and we got to take a look at it. There's always this loving voice to it, whereas my ego's like, "Oh man, what the person said, was terrible," and it makes me not want to, look into it, and it just makes me upset, and it just makes me all of these things, and I don't want to do anything about it. Basically, I'm gonna go have some ice cream, or I'm gonna go, sit in a corner and sulk. That's my ego's thoughts. My higher self's thoughts is like, we are not sitting in a corner and sulking. We're going into meditation right now. We're going to take a look at this right now. So for me, that's kind of like, I guess the best way I could describe my ego voice versus my higher self voice. My higher self voice seems always much more clear to me. Um, it's always filled with love. Um, and it always seems to have such a mature sound to it. It's um, seems so much more confident and wiser, whereas my ego sounds very childish and is usually scared and um, selfish at times, its messages. And so that's how I've learned to differentiate the two. One to me sounds a little like a little kid, and the other one sounds like a grandparent. I guess if that makes sense. Um, all right, Karen says, I think you just answered my question. Susie's loving the foxes on the cloth. Angela said, arrow points the way to make the crossroads less confusing for you. They are there to poke and prod the energies to align them in a better way. May the little arrows show you all the way. Amen. Yay! Love it. I'm so glad you're here. She says, how are you? It's been so long since I caught you. I know. I'm doing great, actually. It's a beautiful day today. And we have missed you. We've missed your poems. She says, I manifest cupcakes and chocolate for you, the whole chat, and stars too. We all deserved a treat today, full of blessings and positivity. For you, all deserve the best. Don't forget it. It's true. Blessings and love for you, Tara, today. Thank you for the work you do. May you and your family be blessed and protected and have success and abundance in all you do. Amen. Well, thank you. She says, my higher self interrupts negative thoughts with, hey, this isn't helping you. Wow, the scenario is silly. It's rethinking them more slowly. Interesting. Um, Karen said, great metaphor. All right. So let me lift this back up again and we'll turn ourselves around. Hey, hello. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to bring my chair back over. Like so. And maybe we can get into, hold on, let me bring my little table back over here. Okay, maybe we could get into doing our super chats and super stickers if that's something you'd like to do. But if we're going to do that, anybody who wants a super chat, super sticker, let me know if you would like me to use the cards, such as the Jupiter Power Tarot, which I talked about last week. This was the deck I was waiting for by the creator Charlie Quintero, the creator of the Star Power, the Mars Power, and the Moon Power Tarot. Or if you would like me to pull an arrowhead for you. So I'll put my arrowheads back in the bag here. And it'll be like a one card pull, but it's a one arrow pull. So those of you that want to do super chats and super stickers, if you want me to pull an arrowhead, let me know. Or if you just want me to pull a card, let me know that as well. Okay, let's see. Angela said, so glad I could finally catch you. So glad you like my poems. It means a lot. Hugs. So yeah, I think this has come up a lot, the questions that you guys had about like meditation, about differentiating the ego from the higher self. And I think that's fabulous. I think it's great. That means that like more people are starting to question things, instead of just deciding that, my ego is the way to go. Everything I've learned is all I'm ever going to learn. That there is no room for questions. So I think that's amazing that, people are starting to ask this now, like, that we want to be able to hear that intuition. We want to be able to hear the other messages. We want to be able to ask why. If that's always been the truth, why has it always been the truth? If things have always been that way, why have they always been that way? I think this is great. All right, Karen will definitely. Um, oh, right, pulling an arrowhead. Excellent. Do you have a particular question? Or are you just looking for a message for your best and highest good? Because I am more than happy to pull you an arrowhead. I'm so excited. Whenever I have a chance to like use my cousin's arrowheads and spearheads, it's a way of connecting with her. So having her energy around is awesome. And by the way, if you want to know like who my cousin was, my cousin's name is Selena. So I feel her energy. So maybe she'll help me out as well. All right, so a general pull. So I'm going to ask Selena to help me as well. Selena is my dad's sister's daughter. She passed away when she was like 34, back when I was in college. But now she's always with me now. Her spirit is eternal. So Selena, our friend Karen, would like a message. I need you to help me. Karen needs a message for her best and highest good. Okay. Oh, all right. So we have this arrowhead right here. Okay, so let me tap into this one with Selena's help. Okay, so the arrowhead, your higher self, and my cousin are all showing me like a heaviness in the heart. And it's saying that each person feels their intuition differently. And your intuition is right here. That although we talk about, things coming from our heart space and, allowing things in our heart space, in your physical body, this is where you feel your intuition. So, if at times you feel a heaviness in your heart, instead of just deciding, oh, that's, obviously I might feel heavy in my heart because I'm sad about something, and then you don't go any further. Or maybe I just have a bit of heartburn, or maybe I just have some indigestion, and it's just explained away logically. There may always be a 3D logical reason for our 3D bodies. But because we're not just a 3D vessel, we are also a soul, we have to look at the soul reason as well. So going back, feeling this heaviness in the heart, if logically you may just say, well, I may feel sad about something and then leave it at that, we have to go deeper. What are your emotions actually trying to tell you? Your emotions are manifesting in a physical feeling right here in your chest. So if the physical feeling is heaviness attached to the emotion of sadness, why is the sadness making me feel heavy? Why does the sadness have a weight to it? And then we go a little bit deeper, utilizing not only your ego, but also your higher self. Show me where sadness equals heaviness. And you might be shown something that occurred in childhood, an event that may seem like it has nothing to do with heaviness and sadness, but it's something to take a look into, where some form of sadness meant a feeling of heavy. When we feel heavy, we feel immobile, that we can't take action, that there's nothing I can do. It feels like a stuck energy. So then we say, aha, so my sadness in this moment is making me feel trapped, stuck, like I can't take action. So then we look further back, not into the present, but into our past. Where in your life had you felt trapped or stuck, unable to help someone, and that made you sad? In going back and healing the past, we have much more clarity in our present. And so if there is a present situation that you are feeling sad, but now we've released that feeling of heaviness, where I wasn't able to do something in the past, now the past has no more bearing on your present. And you might feel that that heaviness in your heart begins to alleviate. And so now, from this lighter perspective, you may still feel sad about a situation, but you might have more clarity on how you can help. And maybe you wouldn't be able to help physically, but now you can help energetically. Or maybe you might have ideas that you wouldn't have had before because of the feeling of being trapped. When we feel like our hands are tied, that we are trapped, it's very hard to come up with solutions. If you think of the tarot and the Eight of Swords, with that person with their hands tied behind their back and the blindfold over their eyes, that's the feeling of heaviness and trap. But now if we've taken the blindfold off and we've taken the rope off of our hands, we know that we can easily slip through these swords. You might be more able to find solutions that may be different than what our ego mind would try to find as a solution. And the energy here wanted to remind you that there are 1,000,001+ ways that we can help others outside of our ego's ability to do so. That we can help people emotionally, energetically, as well as, of course, physically. Sometimes we could do little things that help just as much as giving somebody an answer, so to speak. Sometimes it's just listening. Sometimes it's a joke to brighten someone's day. And sometimes it's just a heart-to-heart connection. But there are ways you can help alleviate that sadness. All right. Thank you, Karen, for allowing me to tap in for me and my cousin to help you. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, Angela said, loving hugs for the whole chat. Whoever wants hugs. Angela said, heaviness is energy that isn't sure where it needs to be. Give it an escape. Poke a hole to relieve the trapped energy. Once it escapes and pain is relieved, you can think more clearly too. Heal the heart. The mind will follow. It'll be okay. So you will. Healing hugs. That's wonderful. Manish, hello, hello. Amanisha says, Tara, what's the difference between ego, self-confidence, and being positive? I would say that the ego is a part of our human programming here. Like in order to navigate the 3D world, we have our ego. That's all of our thinking, our logic. It holds on to all of our memories of the past. It uses our past to dictate our present and our future. Which is why we always say listen to the intuition because it's not so confined. It's not confined to the 3D. So it looks outside of our past and outside of the present, outside of the future. um, Self confidence, I would say, is in having the ability to understand your ego as well as your intuition, and therefore having confidence in the things that you do because it is a balance between the two. And again, this is just my opinion, so I'm not saying it's absolutely fact, but that's just how I see it. And then being positive. It depends. Sometimes that can come from an ego place, and sometimes it could be our intuition. From an ego place, sometimes being positive is actually a cover for not wanting to see certain things. So I would say it's like wearing rose-colored sunglasses. Like I see all these things that need to change in my life, but instead I'm going to ignore them and just be a positive person. Like just say I'm going to be positive or just I'm just going to be in the energy of positivity without doing any healing, without looking at what's going on. So that would say that's like the extreme like polarity of positivity, where the other side of positivity would be in understanding that I have total control over, my actions and my life, and maybe I don't have control over other people and what the people of the world do, but I do understand that I create my own reality. And so if I am unhappy with something, my being positive is understanding that there are aspects of the things within that situation that I can control because those aspects are me. So I would say that would be a form of positivity. But that's just, my opinion, my take on that. Susie's saying, please remember to like and subscribe. Karen says, I know what it is. Thank you for to Selena as well. And just said, yes, everyone hug, like those, hug those that like and subscribe. Join the button. Tara deserves it. Oh, thank you. And Karen said, this resonates majorly, beautiful. Self confidence equals the ability to be authentic self despite ego programming. All right. Yes, beautifully put. uh, Lilith said, my card isn't eligible for phone purchase. I can't pay for a reading until I get a new computer. Ah, yes, the technology once again. Technology is not perfect. Ando said, ego is like the king in the book Bartholomew and the obelix. I never wanted to say sorry or admit something is wrong because it's the mightiest and the highest self is. Um, and then Karen said, there's a term of recent years, toxic positivity. Ah, that's what I guess I was trying to say, like the shadow side of positivity. So yeah, toxic positivity. Angela said Bartholomew, who's giving the real talk to break the ego. All right. Yeah, this is wonderful. I love these types of discussions and these questions. Like I said, I don't know everything. I'm just speaking from my own experiences, with my own higher self and my own ego. But that's why I like these live chats, is because you guys can give, your experiences and your thoughts on, ego, higher self, what it means to listen to intuition. What does the ego sound like? Or, what does our soul sound like? Because it's different, for all of us. We all have different backgrounds. We've all had different experiences in our life. We all connect to our higher selves differently, which is why everybody calls it our personal journey. It really is a personal journey. We can share, which is wonderful. We can read books. We can, listen to audio tapes and things like that to help us understand. But I think at the core, it's taking all of that information and really seeing what feels right. to us. That's why they say take what resonates and leave the rest, because no other person on the planet is going to know everything about our personal journey and how to understand it. Um, Although I would say don't dismiss what people have to say, because we're all aspects of the one, right? You guys are me and I am you. So I'd never discount anything that you say, because you're all aspects of me. You're all fragments of me, just like I'm a fragment of you. So I listen to what you guys say. I see like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'll take that in, and I sit with it. I really try to feel into it, and I let my intuition guide me with that. So in essence, we're still all helping each other learn, even though it's not one person that's going to have all the answers. It's all of you plus me. Basically, it's all 9 billion people on this planet plus me, and plus Gaia herself. And not to discount the animals, the trees, the plants, all of them. They all have a point of view, and it's good to take a look into all those various different points of view. I think it helps us from being led away by our ego in following either just the ego or one other person saying this person is the one with all the answers. And I just don't believe that that can be true. I feel that they may have a lot of great answers, and it may be absolutely true on their journey, and that they could teach you a lot of things, but ultimately it's us that has to determine how we can incorporate what they've taught us, or how we can find our own truth, or both. So that's just my 2 cents, my thoughts. Let's see. Let's go back here. Angela said James has an amazing store. I was just checking. Oh wow. Well, thank you. Yeah, there is a link down below if you guys want to check it out. James's Crystal Shop, which, like I said, we're going to be going back to Tucson this week. So he is running a sale in his shop, in case you guys are wanting to connect to another aspect of yourself. Crystals are just aspects of us. So if you find a little aspect of yourself that you connect with, I would say definitely go see if you want to bring one of those aspects home with you. um, Angela says, so amazing. Lilith said, Placebo is performing at Cruel World Festival, May 11th in Pasadena. Hey, hey. Kayla's here. What up, Kayla? Hello, hello. Angela said, you guys have amazing vibes today, by the way. Yeah, you guys are freaking amazeballs. I love hanging out with you guys on my Sundays. Karen says, it is 11:11 on the clock. Digging it. Angela says, make a wish, 11:11. I wish your wishes come true in the most blessed and best way. And Susie has put the link to Light of Riga in case you want to check him out on YouTube as well. Dana said, so beautifully said, Tara. Sitting and integrating it is so important, and not to dismiss. Exactly. Amanisha says, the ego is a luxury, which I don't have that luxury. Interesting. And Dana says, we can help shed so much light for one another with our different perspectives. Exactly, exactly. And then Susie said, so wonderful. Tara and James, thank you. And Angela said, just favorited your store to tarot. Okay. Or to me. And she says, why did tarot autocorrect? Yeah. Yeah, it's when I try to spell my own name, it just says tarot. So I'm like, maybe I am tarot. I don't know. I was like, maybe I was meant to read the tarot. I'm tarot. um, this is, do the cards want to tell us something? Maybe. All right. You know what? I just, you guys always inspire me. So I think for our guided meditation today, I want, hold on, let me meditate on this so that I could say it more clearly, because my ego doesn't speak so eloquently. That's why I let my higher self do the channel guided meditations, because when I try to just like think up stuff to say during a meditation, I'm like, do this now. It's so bad. But when the higher self takes over, it's such a relief. I'm like, okay, you go ahead, higher self. You take over. I don't know how to do this. And that's the same thing I do for my channelings. Like I said, we have a channeling coming out tomorrow. Because I always get nervous before I do readings for people. Like seriously, even when I do the readings here, like the one card pulls, my ego gets so nervous because my ego's like, well, what would the answer be? How could we possibly help this person? Or like we're supposed to channel some Andromedans, like or beings from Andromeda. I don't know anything about Andromeda. Like, what would the answers be? And that's when I'm like, listen, of course you don't know anything about the beings of Andromeda because you're my ego. Like, you don't know anything. So I'm like, okay, chillax, higher self's got this. And so every time I get into that meditative state and I'm just like, that's why I close my eyes. I'm trying to like just block out any sort of external distraction that my ego could latch onto, like, oh, squirrel, like, oh, bird, oh, chemtrail. Like, I'm just like, okay. And I just wait and I wait and I breathe and I wait until I can hear my higher self. And then I'm like, okay, thank God. Higher self take over. I'm like, whew. And then all that anxiety, all that worry goes away because really my ego doesn't know anything. I like it really doesn't know anything. I mean, it helps me stay alive, I suppose, but my ego doesn't know anything. So that's why I get nervous because my ego gets nervous. My ego's like, I don't know how on earth are we going to help? Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know anything about this person's life. And then my ego and my higher self's like, don't worry, we're going to tap into their soul. Their soul knows what's best for them. And we'll just pass on the message. Whatever resonates with them, they'll take it. And that's all your job is just to pass on the message. Ego, you're not meant to know everything about everything. So you just relax and take a little chill pill, take a little nap ski. I'm gonna take over. And that's me trying to act out what happens between my ego and my higher self. That's literally what it sounds like inside of me. My ego's like, oh, I don't know. And then my higher self's like, we got this, babe. We're just gonna have a little chat with their soul. It'll be cool. um, Okay. So let's see here. Lila says, I want to ask you, Tara, and everyone, I don't know if I'm welcome here anymore. Recent events have left me to lose my faith in trying to find and keep friends. Of course, you're always welcome here. I don't think I've ever said people weren't welcome here. Like we're all at a different phase in our lives. We're all going through things. And so if you ever have like people have posted questions here, like what's the difference between, my ego speaking, my higher self speaking? What does self-confidence look like? What does positivity look like? You may have questions. Karen came in and she was asking about her dog, golden wizard, that if we could help him to stop barking. Like everybody's got different things that we want to work on. And there's so many wonderful messages that you've been able to pass on to other people. You are always welcome here, as long as we all have a willingness to open our hearts to everybody here. And I don't want to say like take at face value everything everybody has to say, but as long as we all have an open mind and we all have the best and highest good for others, um, everybody's welcome here. Even if somebody comes here and they trigger us, I want to know why we're being triggered. I want to know what shadow, what trauma is being triggered. So, it's not always that we're just being super kind to each other. To me, I think the kindest thing to do is to help each other heal in our own ways. So, you are always welcome here. Angela said, hugs, Lilith. I'm glad you're here. And beautiful name change. Karen says, what does your higher self tell you? Very good, Karen. I like that. Um, so Caitlin, I guess it's just having a hard time connecting to our higher self at the moment. And you know what? That's fine too. Sometimes we go through that. Sometimes it feels like it's harder to hear my own higher self. Um, and it's nothing wrong. It's just going through changes, and you've gone through some big changes. You've changed your location. Sometimes changing location can bring things up for us. And making sure that you voice those feelings, whether it's to us, to diary, to the people that are closest to you, the people that have become your neighbors, maybe even the animals that you've become close to. Make sure that you're using that throat chakra, expressing those emotions like I feel scared or I feel worried or um, I am having trouble connecting to my higher self, whatever it may be. Open your throat chakra. That would just be my advice. Karen said, maybe meditate to get your higher self to help, perhaps. Um, Lisa said, Lilith, try to see other perspectives. All right. And she says, I have been, Karen, asking where I went wrong. I see. Janine, hello, hello. How are you? Lilith, I do not believe it is wrong to be open and honest. I'm working on my own throat chakra, so I would never tell anybody else to stifle their throat chakra. That if you're truly speaking from your heart and how you feel, that's never wrong. Never, 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 never. Why do you think babies cry? Is because they don't know how else to express themselves and they haven't been taught yet to stifle themselves. So that's why they cry. They don't have words yet. They're saying, I'm trying to express an emotion, an energy, a thought, and they don't know what else to do. Babies don't just sit there quietly, like, okay, I'm going to keep all my thoughts to myself. That's something that we learn, I think, as we get older. So I would say tap into child energy. Children are most open vocally, energetically. Karen says maybe we should pull a Jupiter card on the conflict that is going on. Sure, sure. And Angela says, no, it's not wrong to be that, Lilith. AK Wisdom is here. Hello. Angela said, I always like the name Lilith, regardless of mythological associations. It's a beautiful, strong sounding name, very queenly. And Lilith says, I just feel more alone than ever. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you know that you are surrounded by not only your own spirit team, your own higher self, your, I would say your spirit family, your soul family, but also physically, and, surrounded by animals, plants, people. Um, we're never alone. Even being in the middle of the forest, you're never alone because then you're surrounded by the energy of trees, animals, um, stones, we're never, never alone. Susie said, Lilith is aiming this at me and, oh, it's making me uncomfortable voicing my feelings. I see. I see. Okay. Amanisha says, everything is changing for me today, moving, changing. If a dog is barking, listen. When my dog used to bark, she was warning me of an upcoming seizure. Oh, I see. Yeah, I had heard that some animals are really attuned to that. So that's why, like, certain, um, I would say, like, I forgot the name of it, but like a help, our helpful animals that stay by our side, they can like sense when something's off about our energy, hence like a seizure, and they know when something is coming because they can sense the energy before we can. Russ said, Lilith, in my opinion, openness with others is fine as long as you don't violate their free will, which is a major spiritual violation. Yeah, I mean, I would say never violate your own free will to speak, but also, yeah, definitely not violating the free will of others. Exactly. Karen said, okay, this affects the community. Maybe a card can be for the community. I think that would be great. Service dog. Thank you, Amanisha. I don't know. Lately, I feel like I don't know. I forget the easiest of words. I don't know what that is, and that's something I'm gonna meditate on later today. Like, why am I becoming forgetful of like my most basic vocabulary? It's interesting. um, okay, so I would like to, before we go into our guided meditation, I would like to pull a card on the Jupiter Power Tarot. But my question, and this would be for the community, for all of us, for the world, putting it out into the collective consciousness, because I know the world doesn't watch my YouTube channel. So I just want to put this out in the collective consciousness. Um, let's see, how do I want to phrase this question? So I'm going to ask my higher self how to phrase it best because my ego is having trouble. Okay, so give me a moment. For our best and highest good, how can I phrase our question? Okay. Okay. All right. How can we express our thoughts and emotions from a place of free will for our best and highest good and the best and highest good for all involved? So, how can we express our thoughts and emotions from a place of free will for our best and highest good and the best and highest good for all of those around us? And then I actually want to pull a second card that's coming up as well. In what way can we respond, or in what way would be the best way to respond for our best and highest good and the best and highest good for those around us when we feel triggered or hurt or saddened by the thoughts and feelings of others? Okay, so we'll pull those two cards. First is the one communicating, and then we would have the receiver of that communication and how they can reciprocate, because we want the utmost healing for anyone that we communicate with. And this is for all of us as a collective. How can we do this as people? Either with a stranger on the street, our own sisters and brothers, our friends, our animals. Let's see. So, the voice, the first voice, and the second voice. Okay, so first voice. So, how can we express our thoughts and emotions utilizing our free will for our best and highest good and the best and highest good for everyone around us? How can we express those things for our best and highest good? And we have the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so let's dive into the Knight of Pentacles. In expressing those thoughts and emotions, we have to first be sure that we are coming from a grounded place. For when we are grounded, we are solely speaking about the matter at hand, about the emotions at hand, for whatever the situation may be, for the thoughts that we may have, for the situation that may be. For when we are ungrounded, let's say a particular situation has allowed our thoughts and emotions to overwhelm us. to the point where we lose our own clarity, our own reason for expressing ourselves. Then our messages become muddled. Because if we've become overwhelmed by our emotions, overwhelmed by our thoughts, then we allow in all similar situations from our past to integrate itself into the present moment. And now, what we speak of our thoughts and our feelings are also the thoughts and feelings from a past that has nothing to do with the person that we are speaking to. For we are actually speaking to not only that person, but to the parents of our past, the friends of our past, the teachers of our past. And our message becomes muddled, thereby becoming confusing to the other party. So, the message is to never close the throat chakra. But when you are ready to express your thoughts and your emotions, you're ready to explain or give information about, or just helping others to understand, we have to make sure that we are first grounded, that we are speaking only about the present situation, our present emotions, our present thoughts, so that we can communicate those clearly to another person or persons. Okay. All right. Then let's take a look at the other card. If we are the person receiving information from another person's thoughts and emotions, and in this conversation, we also feel perhaps a trauma come to the surface, or a trigger come to the surface, or we feel hurt or saddened in some way. And what way can we respond for our best and highest good, and for the best and highest good of the person that we are conversing with, and for all those involved? What can we do? And we have the Six of Cups. Okay. The first thing I'm feeling here is to pause. Of course, when we become hurt or saddened or triggered, the first thing our ego wants to do in order to protect us is to put up the wall, to make the person go away, or to make their words go away. Find any way to shut them down. A much more healing approach would be, again, to make sure that we are also grounded and that we are also present. And taking in the information that the person has spoken to us. And seeing if this information is being filtered through our past. Am I speaking in return as a hurt child? Have I turned the person on the other side into my mom, or my dad, my sister, my best friend, my school teacher? Or am I looking at the person who truly is in front of me? And when we speak from that grounded space, we take in the information from that grounded space, we can express ourselves more clearly in response. It is okay to let the person know that what they have said has brought up issues from our past. Because in doing so, we help the other party to recognize that within themselves in the future. and being totally open and honest about how we feel. I feel hurt when you said X, Y, or Z because something similar in my past occurred with the same type of words. And this is how I responded in the past. But recognizing that it's in the past, I want to come back to the present. How am I going to respond now in the present if the past doesn't exist? And in this way, we offer healing as both the person receiving the information and the person expressing the information, so that now both parties are in a receptive and an ability to offer information. It becomes like the Ouroboros, a cycle of information and receiving. And healing can take place. This doesn't mean that tears wouldn't be shed or that we still wouldn't feel how we feel. But the healing would then be ready as we are open and expressive. We know that we have fully expressed ourselves to the best of our ability. We know why we were triggered. We know why we may have felt sad, because it is from a place of the present and grounding. The other party expressing themselves understands that perhaps there are areas in their life they need to take a look at, as it is very similar to the present situation. And in a grounded state, they can recognize this, while also expressing their true feelings and their thoughts. So neither party is stifling themselves, neither party is holding back, but both are grounded, present, and aware about how the current situation is making them feel, both in the present and in the past. Helping both parties to see where in the past healing needs to be done, releasing needs to be done, so that we can continue to have current and clear, positive communication. Positive in that we have expressed ourselves fully. And by expressing ourselves, we've offered healing. Positive in that I am receiving information with an open heart. My ears fully open and listening. And that I know that I am getting healing out of this situation while being able to express myself fully. Okay. All right. Wow. Karen, I think that that was a wonderful idea to have us pull some cards on that, because I think communication, maybe that should be what our guided meditation is all about, is clear and present communication. Present being the key word, clear and present. All right. Let me go back here. I missed some of your messages. Wow, I missed. Karen said, premenopause, it's real. I think it was after like some big healing work that I did that all of a sudden, like, and it's only been like past couple of days since that. So I think my meditation has something to do with it, but we'll see. I'll tap into it. We'll go in. Angela says, I've had that going on with me. It's like, where do the words go for a second there? And she said, the world should watch your YouTube. You're awesome. You're one of those rare kindness corners of YouTube. Well, thank you, Angela. Thank you. Thank you. She said, same with Susie's channel. When I caught Susie that one time, it was such a nice time. Susie, you're so kind. You're the kindness corner too. She said, "Thank you, my friend." And Angela said, "Sometimes the best way is to come with a smile or make a call to come with good will or not at all. Energy creates more of itself, even if we don't mean to take it. Some time to dance with your shadows." And Russ says, "The beauty of this show is Tara reads the chat and talks to us directly. My last online family had a roundtable of supposed advanced guides who didn't like being questioned. Their egos were huge." Well, I'd like to say I wish I didn't have my ego. My ego is still there, but I like that we kind of help bring out our higher selves in each and every one of us. That we all are speaking from our heart. So I think that's why I like this chat anyway. um, all right, Angel said, "Time for me to step out and get ready for work this Sunday library shift. Have a great day, all." Thanks, Tara. Mwah! Have a great day, Angel. Angela said, "And do any healing you needed to do so you can come with a stable neutrality. Yet at least you don't have to smile, but you do your best to tend your own wounds so you don't bleed on those who didn't cut you." That's beautiful, Angela. I love that. It only takes a little while. Amen. Sorry, my words got a bit cut in twos. Some of the poems are further down. Thank you so much, Angela. Dana said, "I have to share. Tara has given me some of the best advice from the most beautiful and loving perspective. I can't even express how much gratitude I have for her and her beautiful words and heart. Thank you. Thank you." um, Karen said, "Throat chakra is reoccurring theme today." That's why I'm like, you know what? We got to maybe do this for our guided meditation. Um, And Dana says that my perspective has helped shed so much light on things I couldn't have seen without her love and grace. She is a gifted soul who's truly trying to help people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I believe that about you guys as well, which is why I do the live chat. I want you guys to be able to speak and express yourselves, and no matter what it is, light, dark, shadow, light, whatever it may be. That's what I want this space to be. Angela said, "The blue sea where the words swim until we catch them so they can be said. Don't let the waters get muddled if you can avoid it. By lies, by trauma, by dread. Sometimes we say things we never meant to." Dana sending Susie so much love to her beautiful friend. Angela said, "You can't take words back after they are said, to catch them carefully and think before you do." Amen. Yes, amen. And Janine said, "Oh my gosh, how strange is that Jupiter Power Tarot? Haha, I was just wondering this Iris Oracle on the tarot stack, then thought I would look for a tarot deck." Dude, I love this Jupiter Power Tarot. It's got plants, like flowers and plants, like on every single card, but in a very like abstract, arty way, which I love. So I dig it. All right, Susie is saying that it is a powerful message. She honors it. Angela's sending healing hugs to the whole chat. I may not know what's going on, but may it resolve itself in the most and best blessed way for all involved, and in the right time. Amen. Yes. And then Sajid was wondering where I'm from. Yep, I'm out here in the White Mountains of Arizona. Lois says, "I want to break the pattern of supposed friends giving up on me for no good reason." Um, yeah, I think we can all do some healing here. I think Janine says that was great equals relaxing. Angela says, "I'm wishing you well." To Lilith, "I feel like something else is coloring how you look at things right now. I don't know the situation, but that's the sense of it. Something obscuring how you see stuff. Maybe a cleansing bath might be good." Yeah, yeah, I think a little cleansing for us all. I know we're all going through shifts and changes in our lives, and it's appearing in different ways from our friends, our situations, the places that we live. So I think that would be great for all of us. Uh, yeah, a good cleansing is never a bad idea. Exactly. Um, see, just going through here. Angela says maybe try a sit down meditation with whomever your goddess mama or divine is. Lilith, sometimes it's good to get the cosmic mama outlook. Exactly. Um, all right. So Caitlin said their phone's at 9%. So she'll be back next week. All right. Mwah. Wishing you so much love. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a fabulous week, my friend. Take care of yourself. Dana said, I feel it's so important to not point fingers at others and take a moment and sit with ourselves about why a particular pattern is coming up. It's never about the other people, but it's always about us. Yeah, that's something, I try to be present with is, when I look at, let's say, people or situations that upset me, I have to ask myself, why is this person or situation in my reality right now? Why am I connecting with this energy at the moment? Why is this conflict coming up? Like, how am I bringing this in? What am I not seeing? What am I not seeing about myself or the higher perspective of the situation? Um, and so it's not to say that we can't resolve the situation with the other person or whatever it may be, but to ask myself why I am a part of it. Like, why am I connected to this situation or this person? And that's, I think, where the healing comes in. So that way, when we respond or we talk about it either in our head or, to the other person, or, just taking a look at the situation, it comes from a different place, I think, instead of like the reading was saying, looking at the person or the situation from our past and superimposing the past on to them. And I think that we just inadvertently do that as human beings. I'm not saying that only, a certain person or people do this, but I think people in general, like, because that's a part of the ego program, is that it is so good at remembering the past. And that was kind of for survival. If we, um, you know, last time I went out in the wilderness, I got eaten by a mountain lion. My ego is helping me to remember, hey, don't like go messing with mountain lions because you're going to get eaten. So, we take our past and we put it onto the present. But now that we, are in less of this like survival state, and we're trying to understand our soul and our ego, that now we can see what the ego is trying to do. It's holding on to the past, but it shows us where in the past we need healing. So thank you, ego, for showing me where I need my healing, so that my present truly is just that. It truly is just my present, and it's not my past. So yeah, I think something we can all benefit from. So Dana, well put. And Dana said, also, we must remember no one abandons us, but the event can trigger our abandonment wound. But ultimately, it's our job to tend to that shadow and not have expectations of others. Yes, yes, yes. I had, various readings that have come up lately as feelings of, either feeling unlovable or feeling abandoned or feeling, these things that we feel are being triggered by others. And they may very well be, but also we have to ask ourselves, like, where is this feeling of unlovability or abandonment coming from? Or feeling like I have to be perfect all the time, or feeling like I always say the wrong thing. Where is that actually coming from? If not the present moment, where in my past? So well said, Dana. Angela said, exactly again, everybody has wise words today. Goodbyes. I see you later. Even if I see you later means in the hereafter or next life, we always find our friends again. Exactly. And Dana said, we all have a choice, and sometimes our contracts with another may seem short, but it's important to ask what was to be learned. Yes. And Russ said, I believe life contracts need to be lived out. Disagreements may involve egos, unfortunately. Yeah, and everything is just, there's so much that we can learn, even if it's difficult sometimes. I mean, when we were kids, I'm sure there were times that we cried and screamed because there were certain things we just didn't want to learn, but we do the same thing as adults. Maybe we're not kicking and screaming anymore, but we may try to avoid, certain situations because we may feel that it's like something bad against us or something bad against the other person. But if we can that's why I say, you know, we should really get to know the voice of our intuition versus the voice of our ego, because our intuition's saying, hey, 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 hold up there. This person, although may seem like the bad guy right now, they're playing the role of the bad guy in your reality to help you with something. They're trying to show you something, and vice versa. Right now, the person is seeing me as the bad guy, me as, you know, I'm playing that role in their reality right now. Why is that? You know, how am I helping them, and how am I helping myself as well in this situation? So, very good. You guys are freaking amazeballs. That's why I love you guys. And just said, everyone give Susie and Tara some virtual hugs. You two are beautiful, strong, and amazing. Love you. This, we love you. I love you guys. Karen said, abandonment does exist and occur, speaking as a social worker, and it hurts. It takes a lot of work to get through the pain. Yes, but I also do feel we have the tools to heal. We do have the tools to heal. I mean, we are an eternal soul in this human vessel. So when the human vessel struggles, the eternal soul is going to help us. I do believe that. And not that it's not going to be painful. You know, I know that pain does exist. Dana said, everything is medicines for the soul, but we try not to keep repeating the same lessons. Yep. Russ says, I'm still crying, kicking and screaming. Hey, you know what? Sometimes we got to let it out, you know? Dana says, it does, Karen. They are tender emotions that must be dealt with care and lots of self love for ourselves through those moments. Yep. And Karen said, just this week, my sister's oncologist abandoned care of my sister. Wow. So bringing it around. Oh my goodness. Says we do have the tools, but it takes time. Exactly. No, yeah. It it does take time. It's not the snap of a finger, but we're all going at our own pace. You know, some people like to race to the finish line. Some people want to take their time. Everybody, it's your own journey. So, you know, there's no preconceived notions. And just says, wow, KDS, thank you for the work you do. You're amazing. That's a hard job. Susie saying, yes, very sad to hear. Hello, Miss Squirrel. Well, hello. How are you? Do you want me to turn this around? And I think people need to see your happy, smiley little face. I don't know if you guys can see her. She's underneath the tree. She literally ran right over here to see if you guys were okay. Wow. That is so cool. Like she was right here, like right by my feet. She was like concerned. She's like, hey, like, are you okay? Is everybody there okay? Like, I want to let you know I'm here. um, so Angela's going to toss a healing candle over for KDS. She's going to put that on her altar tonight. So that's wonderful. Sazid says, hello, hello, hello. Janine says, love squirrels. Angela says, ah, I can see her and I did not see her. She's so cute. Says, when animals check on you like that, you know TLC is coming. Exactly. And Karen said, thank you. Says, but this is not our first time at the rodeo. So we have it well under control. Love you all for your care. Aw, all right. Angela says, from the universe. Well, my candle says hi. It just flickered, maybe crackle sounds. And Russ says, maybe many people love squirrels, but if their tails didn't have hair. Well, you know, we have some rats around here too. They kind of stay in their little rat huts, but these are like, I would say, the prettiest looking rats. I don't know. It's like their fur is made of mink or something, and they just like have the cutest faces. I've never seen such cute rats before. Maybe it's this forest. Everybody's just like cute, you know? All right. So I think it's time for our guided meditation. And like I said, let's have this meditation being on opening our throat chakra, expressing ourselves for our best and highest good, and also allowing information that we receive to be looked at from the highest perspective for our best and highest good. So I keep thinking of that Ouroboros, being super open and I'm giving, but also I'm being super open and I'm receiving to whatever medicine, whatever healing needs to take place in this situation from this person, from Miss Squirrel, not discounting animals, from Golden Wizard who was barking earlier. Um, so yeah, let's tap into that Ouroboros energy then. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. So let's do that. Okay. Um, KDS says pretty rats. Yeah, I know. I don't know how else to describe them as pretty. Angela says I like rats. They're cute friends and very friendly. Um, all right, so let's turn the camera to a nice, beautiful view, so you don't have to stare at me during the meditation. Um, oh, hey, Miss Squirrel. Oh, she's hanging off on Rogerta's grave. We have our little rabbit that's buried right there. She was hanging out with her, so that's wonderful. Maybe I just turn the camera over to Miss Squirrel. I don't know. She's under the tree. She's kind of rummaging around there. So maybe we'll turn to our tree, our beautiful tree, also known as Anna's tree, as Anna, who is a Diné, a Navajo woman who passed years ago, and her family are all buried right where I'm sitting right now. So let's call on their energy as well for this meditation. Okay, let me have a little sip of water, and then we'll get started. Okay, okay. And get yourself into a comfortable space, a space where you'll be undisturbed for the next several minutes. It could be in your room, outdoors, sitting on a cushion, sitting in a chair. Perhaps you're seated on the floor or underneath a tree. And I want you to bring your awareness to your breath. Just focus on your inhales and your exhales. If it helps you to put one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly, go ahead and do so. I want you to just notice the rise and fall of your chest and the air moving in, out. Noticing if our breathing is deep or shallow. Is our breathing quick or slow or somewhere in between? And as we breathe, we're going to visualize our roots, much like the roots of this. And these roots are moving out from our legs and our feet below you, past the floorboards, past the concrete, past the rocks, into that dark, fertile soil. And imagine as clearly as you can the twisting, the turning, the weaving of these roots deeper and deeper into the earth. And as your roots settle in, I want you to bring your awareness back to your breath. And now, as you breathe in from the deepest of your roots, pulling up that Gaian energy, that energy that is you. For you are the earth, you are the soil, you are the nutrients, you are the rocks, you are the sand, you are the all. Breathe in nice and deep. Let this energy cleanse and fill your entire being. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine that every worry, every troubled thought, every piece of uncomfortable energy is being exhaled through that breath. If you want to visualize it as a color, then visualize that color leaving your lips, every last bit of it. And again, breathe in Gaia's energy, your energy, and cleansing your space. You are grounded. You are present. You are here. Continue breathing. Continue until you feel that those worries, those fears, those troubles in this present moment are expelled. We realize that we cannot ignore our traumas. We cannot ignore our programming and the situation past. But we can release them from our present. And so now I want you to visualize yourself, your being, as a golden Ouroboros, snake eating its tail. For the representation of the snake is one of transformation, of healing, brings us to shed our skin, that every so often we are born anew. And as you continue to view this circular energy, we see all people and all situations as being a mirror for our own healing, as much as we are a mirror for them. And so by eating our tail, we receive what we put out, just as much as we recognize that in our fellow brothers and sisters. And what we see in them, we can also see in ourselves. The healing we see in them is the healing we see in ourselves. The pain in areas we see that they need to heal, we see within ourselves. And we realize by acknowledging these things, we acknowledge our healing. The more we heal the mirrors, the fragments of ourself. And we realize every situation, no matter how joyful or dark, painful or loving, are all aspects of ourself that we can look into for healing, for releasing, for clearing. And so we do not have animosity towards another, but instead gratitude and love. We thank them for showing within us where we need our deepest healing, just as much as we can show them where they can find their deepest healing. And now a situation is neither good nor bad, but it just is a situation for healing. This is where we find light in shadow, source in darkness. For source is all around us and within us. We are source. So continue to see this circular energy, this golden energy. And as you bring your awareness back into the self, we remember that from time to time we need to shed our skin. That perhaps this is your time for healing. And in that we should find joy. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Nice deep breath in and exhale. And when you feel ready, go ahead and wiggle your fingers and toes. If you've had your eyes closed, you can go ahead and open them back up. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me on the meditation and also for hanging out with us in this live chat. I know some of you had to pop in and out, but thank you for everybody who was here to join us, for all of my lurkers who were just there listening, for everybody who was commenting and sharing their wonderful messages. Thank you for being a support to everyone here, as well as a support for me. And I hope that I've been able to support you. Thank you guys. And actually, as I look at the top of my screen, I see the 11 likes with the 11 people in here. 11, 11. I dig it. Angela said, just hold on to your cosmic guides, your angels, your divines, and you'll make it through. Karen said, circular energy is golden energy. And we have successfully quieted down Golden Wizard. Nice. All right, guys, I hope you have a great Sunday, a rest of your Sunday. I hope you have a great week. Imbolc, if you celebrate Imbolc, or maybe Groundhog Day, if you celebrate Groundhog Day. But I hope you have a fabulous start to February. For my patrons, YouTube members, and everybody who's signed up for the newsletter, stay tuned for all the stuff coming out at the start of the month. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Mwah! Peace out. All right. Bye, guys.